Hello. So in this video, what I've done is mirrored the character and I'm looking at different hairstyles. Pretty much going to stick to the Mercy type hairstyle for the most part. I've looked at others. It's not going to be exactly like that. So now what I'm doing is just going along and I'm finding the hairline and kind of cutting up and around the ear and kind of in the back side of the head, because if you notice on that model, there's the kind of like a armor plate on the back of the neck and head. So having done that on one side, I'll go ahead and delete the faces and back to modeling on one side. So now I'm going to take all those faces that I created for the hairline and I'm going to separate them and separating the eyes as well, and then I'm putting everything into layers and groups. An eyes and a face and a head. And then what I'm going to do is mirror the scalp. Then, want to save often. So I'm going to mirror the scalp over because the hair is going to be asymmetrical, but I can keep the body still in half. Now at this point what I'm doing is I'm cleaning it up and I'm just making sure to be as careful as I can that I don't mess with the border edges so that I can always seal it back up to the original. But some of the polys that I originally had in the head, simplifying, collapsing wherever I can. And then what I've done is I've extruded out a little bit. And after having extruded, I'll kind of pull it up. Kind of just looking for the effect that I'm after there. Then I go through the tedious process of deleting the interfaces after the extrusion. I probably extruded it in the wrong direction is why it made these separate faces. I'm going to check it again, make sure it fits. And it's just going to be where the hair is kind of growing up out of the scalp. And again, the whole key here, making sure everything fits together on the border edges. I templated the body model so you can still see it kind of ghosted there. So now I've mirrored it, and now I'm kind of simplifying even more, and I made like the first sort of a part with that ridge that I did. When I compared it, it was that a part is pretty much straight over the eye as to where to put the part in. Just used an existing edge. Again, here I'm just simplifying things. The simpler it is, the better. And in hindsight, I wish that I would have simplified it even more. Not at the border edges, but maybe just along the top of the head. I really would have been smarter to separate it more, but it's okay, still work with it. So then I just took some polys, extruded them out, and now it's just going to be about shaping them. And so I'm selecting the edges from that first section that I extruded, and then this next part is just kind of pushing and pulling them into place, trying to tame them so they follow the kind of like the general form of the Mercy character. So after kind of extruding out like the base hair mask, then at the bottom I extruded out a lock. And again, just a lot of pushing forward and shoving forward. Honestly, this process would have gone smoother had I gone into the top of the head and just maybe deleted every other edge, except for where the border edges touch the scalp. So I'm doing my best not to touch the scalp border edges at all. Now I'm coming in and extruding out another piece, and here I've gone in with both of them and I've deleted the middle edge. Then grab those edges and extruded them. I'm just looking for kind of a general form right now. And when you're working on the general forms, again, it's just less is more, because it's so easy to add in more geometry. And it's so hard to select a bunch of geometry and push and pull and shape. The more geometry you have, the more you've got to worry about that. So again, I've gone in and kind of deleted the middle edge, just keeping these as main, it's just, broad forms. So the next little bit is just going to be me pushing and pulling and shaping. So I've done nothing. The only tools I've used are Move Component, which is a favorite tool, Collapse, and I'm pushing and pulling. A lot of that was with Move Component, or just grabbing points. I'll often select the points from the top of the head, so kind of looking straight down so I don't inadvertently grab vertices on the border edges or on the other side of the head. So there's a lot of collapsing, pushing and pulling, shaping. Probably not spending as much time just looking at the reference. But I'm just blocking out. Adding in more resolution is going to be, that's the easiest part. There, I wanted that to have kind of more of a natural curve, so I just cut it in, deleted one of the edges, and just pulled them over. And again, like there, I had selected border edges, so I had to go in, was careful to deselect them. Pardon the stomach growls. Now just, broad shapes. Notice I kept the bottom of the hair locks, really rough, because then they're just a lot easier to shape. Now comes the little more tedious part of adjusting the verts that are close to the border. And it's likely that I might have moved some of those points around. So I think what I'm going to do here is mirror. That's just scaling in X, -1, and I'm going to take the body and mirror it over. And because the body or the scalp is symmetrical, so I'll untemplate it and just give it a -1 scale in X. And then I'm just going to make sure that the points kind of line up. And along the interior, just trying to thin things out, collapse wherever I can, not worried about triangles. I'm just trying to establish the main shape. And when I say the main shape, I mean just kind of the delineation between the major locks. And later I'll go in and add more subdivisions to the locks and add more cuts running down the middle to give a little bit more shape. This is just about trying to find the shape of the locks, not so much the thickness at this point. Maybe it probably would have been easier had I made a front and a side template. And again, maybe got rid of some of those edges on the top that run from the forehead to the back of the neck. Had I deleted every other edge, this would have been infinitely easier. Just a lot of shaping and cleaning up on the inside wherever I can. Got a little bit tricky there. I had to look at this from different angles to kind of understand that cut, where it was going. It's kind of going up and around the back of the ear, so. So here's where I mirror the other side over. And I can see where I've got anomalies, see where points aren't matching up, so Then I take the points that I inadvertently moved or collapsed, like in this case right here, I had to make another cut so that I can seal it up to the border edges on scalp. You know, I'm kind of pushing and pulling faces till I kind of get the the right kind of look. And so we're here on the model. The one lock kind of goes just a little bit forward of her ears, so I noticed that. Push that around. Now I extruded out what'll be like a ponytail. And here I was a little smarter. I thinned out the edges that I had extruded and then kind of scale in the corners. I worked a lot smarter with the ponytail. I took it and I simplified it, just making simple extrusions and then rotations. Now, again, I'm trying to keep it simple. Just try to find the shape and the form, narrow it down, extrude it out, a lot of rotating. And then I moved it up on the head. No harm, no foul. Try to keep the resolution low, then it's easy to go back and push and pull, and then with the resolution, you just add the edges later. So, thinning out the ponytail was far more effective than leaving as many edges as I did on the hair. So here I'm adding a cut down the hair, down one of the locks, and pulling it out with the move component tool to start giving a little bit more thickness. There'll be more edges to come, but this is just to kind of, give it some volume and depth. And try to make sure that everything jives. This is actually kind of fun, modeling hair. A lot of hair that I've done in the past has been a little more complex and so there I'm extruding another lock. Just kind of extruded that off the front. Then I deleted an edge and kind of cut those together, just kind of merge them in. Just another separate lock. And that's what's fun about this style of a character, is you're just working in shapes. Broad shapes. Other characters that I've worked on, we've also added a lot of cards, or you could call them, or strips of staggered polygons that have transparency on them. This kind of a style, it's just more about the major locks, which is a piece of cake, honestly, to handle when it comes to hair. So best of luck. See you next time.